Well, hello. And from sequence to what I left off, I thought I would continue a little bit of a conversation with Catherine because we were continuing from the book of with the helplessness that we feel. And what I said was, we hear a lot, particularly in my community, we're just going to focus on, we're going to ignore the news. We're going to ignore the news. We're just going to focus on meditation and the beauty and all that. I personally think it's a preposterous. How could you, it's like, to me, it's like somebody saying, I just saw you, somebody hurting you, but I'm just going to ignore that. I'm just going to look around, look at that cloud. That's a little preposterous. That's my opinion. Maybe it's not to you. So they because I think we have to live in that duality of both. Like, you acknowledge, what can I do, as I talked about in early part. And we have to be aware because we are the ones who kind of made the mess as it is. So what was my part in it? How can I make the difference? And do that was what, that we were talking about. So I was asking, Catherine, like, how she deals with, how is she handling all this?
Well, yes, I agree. I feel that I need to be aware of what's going on out there, and also, but in the same breath, not taking it in so that it is affecting me, like what you said. What can I do about it?
I don't know if this is going to.
Hello.
I don't know if this is going to
Here
do
I am.
anything. Yeah.
What can I really do about the situation? How can I help? But not being consumed by it all. Not to say, the things that are in the news today, it's very difficult not to be affected, especially, if you're somewhat sensitive to these things. And
you live in this world, and you're going to be affected.
Right, so we all do. So again, just trying to stay in my practices and in the meditation and all that helps me process these things, because they're in the ether, whether I want to look at them or not.
Right.
I'm going to feel the vibrations and just even people out in the world today. It's like it's just all seems a little crazy. Just even people driving. People don't even seem like. Again, like what you said, they have blinders on.
And they're acting like a bit like a. Also, I think the nervous system is
exactly.
so like.
In overdrive.
Yeah, it's in absolute overdrive. People are scared. People are trying to figure out. But I think end of the day, it's not that you shouldn't consume the news. I think you should be selective, and maybe you should kind of look at it cross. But more than anything, it's. In order to be a conscious human being, I think, is you have to engage that brain that has been given to you, that when you were born with. And I was hearing the other day about AI, and I think I was listening to Greg Braden, which is wrote a book called New Human, but that's all right, they can listen to the voice, New Human. But the thing of it is that and I agree with him in terms of the robotic intelligence. If people are surrendering into it, like, okay, they're letting them do the work stuff, because if you don't use your brain cell, just like a muscle, it will go to die. If you don't, there are creativity and everything else. You're not using it. So I think it's like every so many seconds or out of days, the new cycle of your cells die and new one get replaced. But if we don't exercise it, we don't use it. So we have a common sense on this entire situation that we find ourselves. Most of the people feel very helpless. Like, what are we going to do? So consequently, we're going to ignore it. I think it's behoove us. You don't have to get in the trenches and, like when children are fighting in the mud, you don't get in there and you get, but you can separate, you can discern yourself, you can do those things. What can I do to help? And I think more we do that I think we will feel better about ourselves, because we are using our autonomy, that sense of judgment. Because when we, even watching this incessant amount of whatever the news or just the one kind, we are not paying attention to our own capacity to discern ourselves What is the truth? Like, I mean, if you can tell when your child's lying to you or your husband, whomever, like, you can kind of see it in coming mile, whatever, because you have an intuition. And that we're all very intelligent. I think we all have to use it. If we don't do that, this is where we gotten, because we have set them, they can make a decision, the governments, and then we get to complain about it.
Right.
So
Become complacent. Right.
yes, we become so complacent, and here we are. And if we're talking about the planet and the earth and how it's going to be, I don't think we have a luxury of being complacent.
Yeah.
I think it's our job to take care of this planet, so this planet would exist for our children to live. And for that matter, everything's alive. Plants, crystals, water, everything is alive. So isn't that our job to do what we can? Absolutely. That is, I mean, I take it as it's my job, and I'm trying to figure out the best I can. So
Absolutely.
I think we have a lot of work to do. So I don't know, Catherine, you said something else you want to, like the frustration you feel or whatever else, or where you are at?
No, I think you summed it up there.
So this is just kind of follow up from the earlier video that I'm going to be posting. But the thing is, again, I think it's that this is my 2 cents worth, that all of us, I've been accused of, walking through, it's like a balloon in one hand and a lollipop in the other, like, looking at the rainbow. I never thought I was that one, but I've been accused of that. But so it's truly, I don't think any of us has the luxury of walking around with the balloon in one hand and a lollipop in the other and looking at the rainbows. We can look at the rainbow, we can have a balloon, we can have a lollipop, but understand our situation. More than anything, we're bright, we're smart people with intuition. Use your intuition, use your intelligence, and bring the coherence. Know if your child have scrape or fall, to pick them up and clean up and put it, put a Band-Aid on. Because if you didn't do that, it's going to get infected. And so it's the same thing with whatever is going on in your atmosphere, or whether it's in small, immediate, or it goes on beyond that. It's not them. It's all of us. We have a job to do. What am I participating in to make this situation worse? How am I participating? And I think that is really a critical question that we need to ask, because at the end of the day, when something terrible happens in this world, and if we just kind of looked away and say, oh, I just didn't want to pay attention because it was so much chaos. Well, hello, you're in the middle of the chaos. We're all going to have to pick up a shovel, and we're going to have to start digging ourselves out of it. That's how I see it.
Yes.
All right.
I agree.
So well, okay, so that's it.
Oh, thank you.